Hello everybody. So, this is the video for Lab 14 here. And so yeah, we'll just jump into it. So if we look at this lab here, Lab 14, it says complete each question as indicated, blah, 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 lab exercises. All right. So create a new Java project. Start with the following basic structure for your main class. Now you can call your main class anything. I've been calling them main when we're creating a class that is going to be one of several. The main class can have your main method in it, and your other classes have whatever name is appropriate. So let's go over here and let's just create a file new Java project. Call it whatever we want. I'll just call it Lab 14. And that's it. So we have Lab 14. And oh, I see that I've got stuff left over from last semester in here. Gonna erase this. Okay. So Lab 14, I'm gonna do new class. And we can call it anything, but I'm gonna call it main with a capital M. And I'll check the box for public static void main. So we get a blank program like this. Since this packet, it's like I already had a project created here, you'll notice it says like package tests. That happens when you create a, you know what, I'm going to delete this whole thing. Hold on. I don't want to do this, so I'm going to delete this, check this box to delete everything on the disk, create a new Lab 14 without the problem that the previous one had, which was that it had been created with the box that said module info created. So I'm just redoing these steps. Okay, now we have a blank main class with a main method inside it, and it doesn't say tests up here like it did before. All right, what are we doing? Start with this. Cool. Below your main class, and it says to do this in the same Java file. Um, that generally will work for you, but you can also define it in separate files. So even though this says to do it in the same Java file, I'm going to do it um, in a separate file because I had at least one student that for some reason they couldn't get it to work in the same file. So if we're going to do it in separate files, what you do is we're still on clicking on SRC here, and we'll create another class. And this class should be called restaurant, which is very similar to what's done in the Zybooks exercises for classes. And we do not need to check the box for public static void main. So we don't need to check that box. So when we do this, we end up with a blank restaurant class. So looking down here, you'll see that there's a main.java and a restaurant.java, and they're both in the same project. And I can, open them up and edit either one. So as it says here, define a new class named restaurant. The restaurant should have the following private instance variables. And there's actually, you can look down here where it says like class restaurant. You can copy a lot of this stuff um, if you want. But I'm just going to kind of write it from scratch. So it says the restaurant class should have the following private instance variables. So every variable should be declared private. So a string for the name. What does that look like? Inside of this restaurant class, you do private string name. There you go. That's a private variable. It's a string, and its name is name. A string for the location. It was called location here. We'll do the same thing. Private string location. Next, string for the phone number. Private string. I don't know what it's called. Phone number. Phone uppercase in number. Finally, int for the rating. So that's private, private int rating. Cool. All right, so integer rating is what we're doing here. I think we did something very similar to this in lecture and we used a double. So your variable name should be declared private. And then it says should also have getter and setter methods for each of these variables. Um, we should have a constructor. I'm going to copy paste this one rather than type it. Even constructor. So what this does is when you create a restaurant variable, it's going to run this. So by default, the name is going to be in A, the location is in A, the phone number is in A, and the rating is 0. So that's what you're going to get when you make a new restaurant. Okay. And then it says you should have public getter and setter methods for each variable. So there's examples down here. So for example, I'll just write one actually. Public, we don't need static, but public void. I don't know if we're writing setter or getter first. Setter. I'll say set name. Okay. So you write a method called set name, and this is supposed to change the name. So we need a variable to come into this method. So in the parentheses here, we would do like string, you can call it name or new name. And then down here, um, we want to set the name that's inside of the restaurant, which is name, to be equal to the name that we pass in, which is called new name. And that's all this method needs to do is this. So it's one line. Now, you can also write this as this dot name, and the this refers to this class. So this class's name variable. Um, if you do that, that would allow you, you don't have to, but that would allow you to reuse the variable name. And then you would have it look like this dot name equals name. So name by itself is the one that's coming into the method, and this dot name is the name that's up here. But I'll leave it like this, just with different names. I feel like that's easier to understand. We do not need the word this in this case, but it doesn't hurt to have it. So you need setters for every variable. So the name, the location, the phone number, and the rating. So once you write one of them, right, you just paste it, set copy paste it, and this one could be set location. And then we would maybe call this like new location, and this location equals new location. Then we got to do one for the phone number. So set phone number, string new, I'm just going to say number. And then this could be this dot uh, phone number equals new number. All right. So these are called setters. We still have one left to do. We didn't do the one for the rating. The one for the rating is slightly different. Set rating. Because the input variable is not going to be a string, it's going to be an integer. So int new rating. And then this dot rating equals new rating, like this. So these are all what we call the setters. Um, cool. Now we're not ready to run anything yet, but if you looked at the main, the way you would create a restaurant is you would say restaurant, that's the type. You give it a name, so like rest one or something, could be a restaurant name. And then to create a new restaurant, you do new capital R restaurant like that. And that creates a new restaurant. So we could create as many restaurants as we want. Oops, see. We could create as many restaurants as we want, just give them different names. And that's how we can create restaurants. Now, we're not ready to use this class yet. We can set all the variables, but we still need to be able to retrieve them. So those are what we call getters. And so these methods will return one of these variables, the name, the location, the phone number, or the rating. So like public, if we want to return the name is a string. So public string, get name. We need no input here because get name doesn't need any input. We need to find the name and output it. And all it needs to do is say return name. And so you do this for each of the variables. So we have the name, we have the location. So we have to, change the name and return the right variable. We have the phone number. Oops. And then finally, for the rating is an integer, so we have to change the return type to an integer and rating, rating. Okay, so these are all the real basics for our restaurant. We have the ability to set and retrieve every variable. So there's getters for every variable and setters for every variable. So coming back to here where I've got these restaurants, once you've created some number of restaurants, we can assign them values. So like the first restaurant was REST1. And so if I wanted to change the name on that, I would do set name. And then I could set it to whatever I want. So like I could say Taco Bell. That sets the name of the first restaurant to Taco Bell. But you could set the location to an address. I don't know the address of Taco Bell, so I just say G Street. You could set the phone number. Phone number. I don't know the phone number for Taco Bell, and I'm not going to look it up. So 555 5555. Sure. Right. So we set the name, the location, the phone number. We could set the rating. We didn't say it's just an integer. So, is it out of 10? Is it out of 5? What is it? I'll say it's like stars, and we're doing 5 stars. 5 stars for Taco Bell, right? So this is how you set all of these things. Now you could set them for each of the restaurants. So looking at the assignment here, it says inside the main method, create at least 3 different restaurants. Already did that. Using the setter methods, assign values for each variable. So just like what we just did, we need to do that for others. I'm going to use this one as one of them. So like we could do restaurant 2, restaurant 2, restaurant 2, restaurant 2. Right? So we set all the variables for restaurant 1. We set all the variables for restaurant 2. We need a third one. I guess I could just copy all of one of them, put it here, change these all to 3s. They need to be different values. So we already got Taco Bell and then a fake restaurant. Uh, strings. Where's strings? I don't know. It's on Yosemite somewhere, I think. What's the phone number? I don't know. There it is. And I'll say the Codfather, I hate fish, so that's 1. And strings I like, so I'll do 4. Okay. So this is how you um, use the class. We've set all the variables to these things in our main method. Then what do? It says using the getter methods and system.out print line, print the details of each restaurant to the console. And then there's an example here. So we can copy all of this. This is for one of the restaurants. Of course, it's all done wrong. So I named my restaurants not with the entire word restaurant. I named them Rest One, Rest Two, etc. So you make this work for one of them, and this is restaurant one details. If we run this, we'll be able to see it run. So when we run it, it says restaurant one details, Taco Bell G Street. So it just spits out all the information. This should be down here, right? So it just spits out all the information for restaurant one. So once you have that working, you can just copy that and do it all again. The only things you need to change are all these ones to twos. Do it again, change all the ones to threes. And we run it, it should spit out the information for all of the restaurants. So you see, each restaurant stores its own name, location, phone number, and rating. So we see the information for Taco Bell, the information for Codfather, the information for strings. Okay. So what did we do? Well, we used a class in our main method, and we wrote the class in its own restaurant.java file. Now, in theory, it could have worked the way it shows it here in the sample code. So like we could have had this all in one, class called Lab 14, and then the restaurant could have been below that. But sometimes people have trouble getting that to work. So separate files I figured was less problematic, so that's how I did it. Um, all right, that's it. So what do you need to do? You need to, it says submit your single Java file containing the main class and restaurant class. But because we did them in two files, you'd have to submit both of those. And a screenshot showing the printout of your code, or like, so a screenshot showing that you actually printed out the restaurant properly. And that's it. So pretty simple lab. I mean, there was one problem, but the problem took longer than most problems in most labs, I think. But overall, it was not that bad. Anyway, that's it. So I will talk to you guys later.